Bismillah, alhamdulillah, wassalatu wassalamu ala rasulillah wa ala alihi wa sahbihi wa man wala wa ba'd. Now, so we continue with our study of Jawami Al-Akhbar, Sa'di alayhi rahmatullah, and we were last discussing the narration of the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, al-mu'min al-qawi khayrun wa ahabbu ila Allah min al-mu'min al-da'if wa fi kullin khayr. That the strong believer is better and more beloved to Allah than the weak believer, and in each of them there is goodness. احرص على ما ينفعك واستعن بالله ولا تعجز. Be diligent upon what is beneficial to you. Seek the help of Allah and do not become weak. وإن أصابك شيء فلا تقل له إني فعلت كذا فإن الله تفتح عمل الشيطان. And do not say, if only I had done such and such and so and so would have happened, for indeed the word if, it opens the door to the handiwork of shaitan. So we completed most of the explanation of Asa'di to this narration. And so we pick up this evening from his statement, وَصَلَوَاتُ اللَّهِ وَسَلَامُ عَلَى مَنْ أُعْتِيَ جَوَامِعَ الْكَلَمِ وَنَوَافِعِهَا. He says, so may the prayers and peace of Allah be upon the one who has been given Jawami al-Kalam. This Jawami al-Kalam, it is amongst the things which the Prophet Muhammad alayhi salam were given. His khasa'is are many, to the point that you find some of the scholars have written books regarding khasa'is and Nabi, right? Those things that are specific to the Prophet alayhi salam. And Shaykh Ahmed al-Najmi, he has some 70 lines of poetry in which he mentions these things that are specific to the Prophet alayhi salam. And amongst them is that he was given Jawami al-Kalam. And Jawami al-Kalam is the ability to make short and concise statements that are profound in their meanings and the benefits that can be extracted from them and the rulings that can be derived from their speech. So Jawami al-Kalam, this is amongst the gifts which the Prophet was given that no one before him was given. And so he says that, نعم ثم إنه حض على الرضا بقضاء الله وقدره. So after speech regarding what is beneficial and how that which is beneficial to me may be different from that which is beneficial to you and the likes of this. So each has to be diligent upon what is beneficial to him or her. And that is in the affairs of deen and the affairs of dunya. As we said by way of example, you may be good at working with your hands, maybe me not so much so. So an occupation or a job working with your hands may be beneficial to you. But I'm not that skilled. I don't have a steady hand and the likes of this, so I have to pursue something that's beneficial to me. Maybe I'm good at using my brain and my mind. I can figure things out and the likes of this. So I have to be diligent upon what's beneficial to me, and you have to be beneficial or be diligent upon what is beneficial to you. And this doesn't relate to the dunya. And the deen, then what is beneficial, it goes back to two things. That is, ilm al-nafi', beneficial knowledge, wal-amal salih, and righteous deeds. And the Shaykh, he laid out a methodology in how we are to go about seeking beneficial knowledge. Now, but after mention of all of these things, right? Now, he mentions or he encourages with being pleased with the divine decree of Allah Azza wa Jal and its foreordainment. بعد بذل الجهد والاستفراغ الوسع في الحرص على النافع. And so after one exerts his efforts, and he strives to the best of his ability to bring about that which is beneficial. فَإِذَا أَصَابَ الْعَبْدُ مَا يُكْرِهُهُ. So if after doing everything that you can, to bring about what is beneficial, something were to occur that prevents you from your goal. He says, فَلَا يُنْسَبْ ذَلِكَ إِلَى تَرْكْ بَعْضِ الْأَسْبَابِ. Then don't attribute that lack of achievement of your goal to the abandonment or to the fact that some of the asbab were left off, some of the means were left off, right? That's what he means when he says, فَلَا تَقُلْ لَوْ. Only, don't say, if only I had did this, then so-and-so would have happened. Don't attribute it to the fact that you didn't do the thing, and this is why your goal was not achieved. He says that. Now, he says, "Bal yaskun ila qada Allah." Rather, yield and submit to Allah's decree. Yield and submit to Allah Ta'ala's decree and His foreordainment. Naam, he says, liyazdad imanuhu. He says, in order that by way of this, your iman can increase. And so you are yielding and submitting to the will of Allah Azza wa Jal and Allah's decree. You understand that He didn't decree it for you. You took the means that you did take. He didn't decree for you to take the other means. Naam, you took the means that you took. Naam, you strived your level best to bring about your desired goal, and Allah kept it from you. Allah kept it from you. So yield and submit to Allah's divine decree, and this will increase your iman. It will increase your iman and your trust and your reliance upon your Lord. Now, he says that وَيَسْكُنْ قَلْبُهُ, and your heart will be at ease, وَتَسْتَرِي نَفْسُهُ, and your soul will be content. فَإِنَّ اللَّوْ, for indeed this law, yani the word if, نعم في هذا الحال تفتح عمل الشيطان, it opens the door to the handiwork of shaitan. What does he mean by this? He says, because your iman in Allah's divine decree will decrease, right? You're attributing the fact that you did not achieve your goal to the fact that you didn't do a particular action, right? When you should attribute it to Allah Azza wa Jal, attribute it to Allah Azza wa Jal. Don't attribute it to the means itself. The means is just the means. And it's only going to be a means if Allah makes it a means. So therefore, yield and submit to Allah's divine decree. Your iman will increase. Versus when you hang your trust and your reliance upon the means itself, and when your goal is not brought about, and you attribute that to the means, then your iman, by way of that, it will decrease. Your iman, your faith will decrease, meaning in Allah's divine decree. You're not putting your trust and your reliance upon your Lord. You put your trust and reliance upon the means. Now, so he says that وَاعْتِرَاض عَلَيْهِ, and it contains inside of it objection and rejection of Allah's divine decree. وفتح أبواب الهم والحزن والمضعف للقلب, and it opens the doors of grief and sadness, right? Grief and sadness, over things that missed you. You're sad and upset because something missed you. If only I had done such and such. If only I had done this. If only I had shaved my beard, I would have got that job. If only I had, done this and done that, and so and so would have happened. Now, and these are those things, or it opens the doors rather to sadness and grief, which weakens a person's heart. وهذه الحال التي أرشد إليها النبي عليه الصلاة والسلام هي أعظم طرق للراحة القلب. So these conditions, this state and condition which the Prophet عليه الصلاة والسلام has directed us to, it is from the greatest means to bring about contentment of the heart. وأدعى لحصول القناعة والحياة الطيبة, and it is from that which it brings about contentment and a good life. That is that a person, he is diligent upon those affairs that are beneficial, first and foremost. والاجتهاد في تحصيلها, you are diligent, you desire what's beneficial, and not just that you want it, rather you strive for it. You strive for it, you work to actualize it, to bring it about. And then you don't just depend upon your efforts, rather you make isti'ana billah. You seek the help of Allah tabarak wa ta'ala upon it. So you can't do anything without Allah Azza wa Jal. No matter how intelligent you think you are, no matter how strong you think you are, no matter how shrewd and sharp you believe that you may be, you can't do anything without Allah Azza wa Jal. So this is the remedy, right? First and foremost, you desire what's beneficial. Secondly, that you work to bring it about. Thirdly, that you seek help from Allah Azza wa Jal in attaining it. You seek help from Allah Azza wa Jal in attaining it. And you thank Allah Tabarak wa Ta'ala for whatever He facilitates for you from that. وَالرِّضَى عَنْهُ بِمَا فَاتَ. So if you get something from it, right, you work to bring it about, seeking the help of Allah Azza wa Jal in doing it. And if you attain some of your goal, you're grateful for whatever you get. You're grateful for whatever you get. When فَاتَكَ شَيْءٍ, and if something misses you, right? If something misses you, you are content. You are pleased with the divine decree of Allah Azza wa Jal, even if you don't attain what it is that you were seeking. وَاعْلَمْ أَنَّ اسْتِعْمَالَ لَوْ يَخْتَلَفْ بِاخْتِلَافِ مَا قُصِدَ بِهَا. And know that the usage of this word law, or if, right? The usage of the word if, it varies with the variation of the intent of the one that is using it, right? Meaning that in استعملت في هذا الحال, if it is used in this way, like what's mentioned in the hadith. Don't say, if I had done such and so would have happened. If it is used in this way, right? If you don't get something that you wanted, then you say, oh, I should have done it this way, I should have done it that way, and so would have happened. Then this is that which opens the door for the handiwork of shaitan, as the Prophet mentioned, alayhi salatu wasalam. Now, similarly, if one uses the word if as though he wishes for some evil that he missed, right? He wishes for some evil that he had missed. I should have, if only I had met her before he met her, then I would have had her first. If only I had saw, whatever, I saw that opening to that lick, that haram lick, then I would have got it before such and such would have got it. Using low like this is likewise impermissible. Now, for the acquisition of sins and disobedience. إنها مذمومة, then it is blameworthy if it is used like that. وصاحبها آثم, and the one who uses it like this is a sinner just for the use of the term. He's sinful for wishing for some evil that had missed him. Now, this is why, like we mentioned this over the weekend in DC, the qawl of Ibn Abbas, that if a person he laments over a sin that missed him, right? He laments and he is upset over a sin that missed him. You being angry over the sin that missed you is worse than a sin had you done it. Had you been successful in it, you being angry over the fact that it missed you is worse than the actual sin. Now, so the one who uses low like this is atham, he's a sinner. وَلَوْ لَمْ يُبَاشِرْ الْمَعْصِيَةِ, even if he didn't get a chance to do it. Even if he didn't get a chance to do it. فَإِنَّهُ تَمَنَّى حُصُولُهَا, for he is wishing for the acquisition of that sin. أَمَّا إِذَا اسْتُعْمِلَتْ فِي تَمَنِّي الْخَيْرِ, but if you use low, from the Bible, the standpoint of wishing for some good, now he says, or for the or in the clarification of knowledge, for example, use it from the bab of knowledge, then in this case, he says, it is praiseworthy. لأن الوسائل لها أحكام المقاصد, because the wasa'il, the means, have the same rulings as the goals which they bring about. So we mention an example of this, right? We spoke before concerning the steps, the gradual steps of shaitan, and how shaitan, he first tries to get you to fall into shirk or kufr. If he can't get you to fall into shirk or kufr, right, then he tries to get you to fall into some other type of sin or disobedience, right? He's content with that. If he can't get you to fall into sin or disobedience, then he wants you to fall into bid'ah of some sort, right? Or if he can't get you to fall into that, then what he'll do is try to make you leave off some good deeds, try to make you leave off doing good, right? And amongst the ways that he gets you to leave off doing good is this, right? A person, he comes into the masjid right before the salah, right before the muadhin is about to call the adhan. So the first thing you do when you walk into the masjid is what? You pray 2 rak'ah, right? But you come into the masjid while the muadhin is about to call the adhan, right? And you see he's about to call the adhan, but the first thing you do when you come in is you start making your 2 rak'ah. But when the muadhin's calling the adhan, what you supposed to do? Repeat after the muadhin, right? So shaitan, he would trick some people, right? And have you focus upon one good when you could have gotten both. You could have gotten both. You saw the muadhin about to call the adhan, come into the masjid and wait. Let him call the adhan, you repeat after him, get that reward. Then you pray your two rak'ah and you get that reward. Now you got both, right? So if a person didn't know that, and he came into the masjid and he ended up praying his 2 rak'ah and he missed the reward of calling the adhan, then he finds out that he could have gotten both the rewards had he just waited. Now he can say, if only I had waited, I would have gotten both rewards. I would have got that good, right? Or if I had that knowledge that I should wait, then I could have gotten both rewards, right? This is using low in a way that's good, right? Now, and so this is what he means. So if it's used like this, then this is something which is praiseworthy. It's something which is praiseworthy. Now, but as it relates to objection to Allah's divine decree, then it should not be used from this angle. Now, you wanted to attain something from the dunya. You took the means to try to get it. You worked to try to get it, and then you missed it. And you say, "If only I had done so and so, then such and such would have happened." As if, had you done that, it would have changed Allah's divine decree. You cannot change Allah Ta'ala's divine decree. There's nothing that can change Allah. You taking the means that you did, that's part of Allah's divine decree. Now, and look at what occurred with Umar ibn al-Khattab, wherein they were traveling to Sham, and they had heard that a plague had broken out in Sham. Abdul Rahman ibn Auf, he told him that I heard the Messenger of Allah alayhi wasallam say that if you are in a land where a plague breaks out, do not leave that land. And if you hear that the plague is broken out in a land, don't travel to that land. So they turned around, they headed back to Medina. And they said, oh, Amir al-Mu'mineen, are you running from Allah's divine decree? He said, yes, we're running from Allah's divine decree to Allah's divine decree. Now, the fact that we're leaving, that's part of Allah's qadr, right? Had we gone there and caught the plague, that would have been Allah's qadr, but we're turning around and leaving, that's part of Allah's qadr as well. Now, and so this is how we understand this particular affair. هذا الأصل الذي ذكره النبي عليه الصلاة والسلام هو الأمر بالحرص على الأمور النافعة ومن لازمه اجتناب الأمور الضارة مع الاستعانة بالله. He says, so this asl, this foundation, this principle which the Prophet ﷺ has mentioned, and it is the command to be diligent upon affairs that are beneficial, and by way of this, from what is connected to it, from its lawazim, or that which is natural result of it, is that you also avoid those things that are harmful. So you're not just diligent upon seeking what is beneficial, you also avoid those things that are harmful. Now, مع الاستعانة بالله, along with seeking Allah's aid, يشمل استعماله والأمر به في الأمور الجزئية المختصة بالعبد المتعلقاته. He says then this is inclusive of the command regarding those affairs that are juz'iyya al-mukhtassa bil-abd, those things that are specific to a particular person, one person or another, and everything that's connected to that person. Now, as well as those affairs that are general. Now, those affairs that are general and that are general for every single person. As we said, like the Sheikh, he was speaking about what's beneficial to you, what's beneficial to me, what's beneficial to that person, and so on and so forth. Now, this is what is specific. And then you have those things that are general and beneficial for everybody, right? We all need food, we all need drink, we all need employment, and so on and so forth. And there are certain things that are generally beneficial to everybody. Now, and it likewise contains in it al-isti'dad li'adaihim بكل مستطاع مما يناسب الوقت. And when we're speaking about on a larger scale, things that are beneficial to the ummah, beneficial to the Muslims in general, from that is al-isti'dad li'adaihim, is that they prepare for their enemies, that they are prepared to encounter and to face their enemies with everything they have at their disposal. Now, from weaponry and skill and the likes of this, they're prepared to take on the enemy. From strength, al-ma'nawiyya wal-madiyya, right? Al-ma'nawiyya, strength that is ma'nawiyya, figurative type of strength, meaning intelligence and planning and skill and the likes of this. And then you have al-madiyya, that literal type of strength, from weapons and armory and so on and so forth. وَيَبْذَلُ غَايَ مَقْدُورِهِمْ فِي ذَلِكَ, and they exert all of their efforts to the best of their ability in doing so. Now, he says that, and this is in accordance to what's appropriate to them, the place they live, and the time frame in which they're in. Meaning that, as time, goes on, you'll find that weapons start to change, right? It used to be swashbuckles and swords, right? Now it's, it's a different type of fighting that takes place in this day and time. Now, so he says that, and in doing so, they seek the help of Allah Azza wa Jal in the acquisition of that and the actualization of it. وَدَفْ جَمِيعْ مَا يُضَادُّ ذَلِكَ, and they repel all of that which opposes that, meaning they strive to get rid of any type of deficiencies they have in their planning, any deficiencies they have in their manner of fighting and the likes of this. They get rid of all of their weaknesses and they plug those holes, so to speak. Now, he says, now, وشرح هذه الجملة يطول. And the explanation of all of this is it will make the speech even longer, and its details, however, are well known. وقد جمع النبي عليه الصلاة والسلام في هذا الحديث بين الإيمان بالقضاء والقدر والعمل بالأسباب النافية. So in this narration we find this important principle, and that is combining and bringing together belief in Allah's divine decree and His foreordainment, along with taking the means. Right? Belief in the divine decree along with taking the means. This is the methodology of the Muslim and how he goes throughout his daily affairs and how he lives his life. We don't just rely upon, for example, saying that my provisions are written for me, so I'm not going to go out and seek anything, right? Whatever's going to happen to me is written in decrees, so I'm not going to prepare for anything. No, this is foolishness, right? This is foolishness. It's not from the methodology of the Muslim, right? But rather, we do believe in Allah's divine decree, and at the same time, we take the means. At the same time, we take the means. Now, he says, وَهَذَانِ الْأَصْلَانِ دَلَّ عَلَيْهِمَ الْكِتَابُ وَالسُّنَّةُ فِي مَوَاضِعٍ كَثِيرًا. So these two foundations of believing in Allah's divine decree and foreordainment, along with taking the means, they are proven and established within many places in the Book of Allah and the Sunnah of the Messenger of Allah alayhi wasallam. وَلَا يَتَمْ الدِّينِ إِلَّا بِهِمَا. And the religion is not complete except by way of them. بَلْ لَا تَتَمْ الْأُمُورِ الْمَقْصُودَةِ كُلُّهَا إِلَّا بِهِمَا. Rather, all of those things which we seek after and desire, they cannot be brought about for us except by way of them. Because in the narration, he said, احرص على ما ينفعك. Be diligent upon what is beneficial. And this is a command. This is a command to take all of those necessary means to bring about what we want, whether it is the religious affairs or the worldly affairs. We want something in the deen. Prophet Muhammad said, "Ilm bita'allam." Knowledge is by learning. You don't just desire it and it pops into your head. You want knowledge, you seek it. You study. You learn. You ask questions. Right? You do what a student of knowledge does when he's trying to acquire ilm. Now, and so, as it relates to the affairs of the dunya, you want something from the dunya, you got to work for it, right? You want children, you got to go get married, right? You want money, you have to find a job, and like this, so you have to come up with a business plan, whatever you do to get your money. Bal amrun bil jidd wal ijtihad fihi. He says, rather, this contains the command to work hard and to strive to bring it about. Niyatan wa hammatan. So you have the intention. You have the drive and determination, fi'lan wa tadbiran, right? You put the work in, and you have good management in the acquisition of your goals. وَقَوْلُهُ وَاسْتَعِنْ بِاللَّهِ. And when he said, and seek the help of Allah, this contains inside of it iman in Allah's divine decree. Iman in Allah's divine decree and His foreordainment. وَأَمْرٌ بِالتَّوَكُّلِ عَلَى اللَّهِ. And it contains inside of it as well a command to have trust and reliance upon Allah. الذي هو الاعتماد التام على حوله. Allah Ta'ala, the one whom total and complete reliance should be upon Him and His power and His strength. Ta'ala fi jalbi al-masalih, in the acquisition or the bringing about of those things that are beneficial. Wa daf al-madar, and the repelling of that which is harmful. Ma thiqa at-tamma billah, while having complete trust in Allah Ta'ala, that Allah Ta'ala, He will make you successful. فالمتبع للرسول عليه الصلاة والسلام يتعين عليه أن يتوكل على الله في أمر دينه ودنياه. So the one who truly follows the Messenger عليه السلام, it is incumbent upon him that he put his trust and reliance upon Allah in the affairs of his deen and the affairs of his dunya. وأن يقوم بكل سبب نافع, and that he bring about, or they strive to enact every beneficial means in accordance with his ability and with that which he is aware of, that which he has knowledge of, and he is cognizant of. Wallahu al-musta'an. Now, so this concludes Shaykh As-Sa'di's explanation of the hadith. The only thing that remains left from that is Shaykh Ubaid's comments. And so we'll take that, inshallah ta'ala, in the next sitting. We will now transition to Kitab al-Siyam from Al-Mulakhas al-Fiqhi by Sheikh Saleh Fawzan. Now, so we pick up from Bab Fi Bayan Ahkam al-Qada al-Siyam, chapter, clarification of the rulings of making up one's fast. The Shaykh says, Man aftara fi Ramadan bisabab mubah, that whoever breaks his fast in the month of Ramadan for a permissible reason, kal-a'dhar al-shar'iyya, like the legislative excuses which permit and allow the breaking of the fast. Aw bisabab muharram, or he may even break his fast for a haram reason, for something haram. Kaman abtala sawmahu bi jama' aw ghayrihi, like the one, for example, who breaks his fast by way of being intimate or by some other means. Wajiba alayhi al-qada, then it is obligatory upon him to make the fast up, right? The difference with the one who is intimate, of course, he has to, in addition to making the fast up, he has to do what? An expiation in addition to it. But in all cases in which a person breaks his fast, whether for a permissible reason or an impermissible reason, they are obliged to make that day up, along with tawbah if it's due to an impermissible reason. Now, and this is due to the statement of Allah Azza wa Jal, فَعِدَّةٌ مِّنْ أَيَّامٍ أُخْرَى, so a number of days are made up from other days. وَيُسْتَحَبْ لَهُ الْمُبَادَرَةُ بِالْقَضَاءِ لِإِبْرَاءِ ذِمَّتِهِ, and it is recommended for the one who has days to make up that they rush to make them up, that he makes them up as soon as it's possible for him to make them up. Now, and likewise, that he make the days up consecutively. He makes the days up consecutively, because in this lies hastening to do good, right? And making the days up immediately and doing them consecutively, if there are multiple days, in that lies rushing and hastening to do good. لأن القضاء يحكي الأداء, and this is because making up the days stands in the place of the performance of them. Meaning you were supposed to make the fast, you're supposed to fast in the within the month, but you didn't for that reason. Maybe you got sick, maybe you travel, and the likes of this. So those days that you make up, they will fulfill that obligation for you. So it stands in a place of the performance of the deed in its time. وَإِنْ لَمْ يَقْضِي عَلَى الْفَوْرِ, even if a person does not make them up right away. Right? Even if you don't make them up right away. So what's recommended, it's better that you rush to make them up. And if there are multiple days, you do them consecutively. But even if you don't do it like that, right? Whenever you make the days up, then it will stand in the place of the days that you were supposed to fast in their proper time. وَجَبَ الْحَزْمُ عَلَيْهِ, so even if you don't rush to make them up, then you must have firm resolve to do it. You must know within yourself that you're going to make these days up. وَيَجُوزُ لَهُ التَّأْخِيرُ, and it is permissible for a person to delay them making the days up. Why? Because the time that you have for making the days up is broad. The time that you have for making up fast from that you missed or that you broke your fast in the month of Ramadan, you have all the way up until what? The next Ramadan. All the way up until the next Ramadan. So the time frame is a broad time frame. So even if you don't make them up immediately, which is better, right, you have to have firm resolve to make them up before the next Ramadan. Now, وَكُلْ وَاجِبْ مُوَسَّعْ يَجُوزُ تَأْخِيرُهُ, so every obligation that you have a broad time frame to do it, it is permissible to delay it within that broad time frame. Now, while having firm resolve to make it up. كَمَا يَجُوزُ تَفَرُّقَتُهُ, just as it is permissible to break the days up, right? You can break the days up. Maybe you have 5 days where you can fast one now, maybe another day 2 weeks from now, or another day next month, and like this until you make the day up, all those days up. You can break them up separately. وَلَكِنْ إِذَا لَمْ يَبْقَى مِنْ شَعْبَانَ إِلَّا قَدْرٌ مَا عَلَيْهِ. However, if you get to the month of Sha'ban, which we're in now, and you only have enough time in Sha'ban, only enough days in Sha'ban to fulfill the fast that is upon you, then you must rush to make them up, right? You have a week left in Sha'ban and you have 7 days to make up from last Ramadan, then you must rush to make them up back to back to back to back. You cannot delay it at that point once it reaches that. Now, so he says that, and this is by way of ijma', by way of consensus, and this is due to the tightness of the time frame. لا يجوز تأخيره إلى ما بعد رمضان الآخر لغير عذر. It is not permissible to delay it till the next Ramadan comes, or to do it after the succeeding Ramadan, except that one has an excuse for doing so. Based upon a statement of Aisha, radiallahu anha, that she said, كَانَ يَكُونْ عَلَيَّ الصَّوْمُ مِنْ Ramadan, that there used to be upon me days to make up from the fasting of the month of Ramadan, فَمَا أَسْتَطِيعُ أَنْ أَقْضِيَهَا, and I would not be able to make them up except in the month of Sha'ban, لِمَكَانْ رَسُولُ اللَّهِ عَلَيْهِ وَسَلَّمَ, due to having to be prepared for the Messenger of Allah alayhi wasallam. So she would take the opportunity wherein the Messenger of Allah alayhi wasallam was fasting himself, and she would make up her days from the month of Ramadan. As it's known, the Prophet alayhi wasallam, he would fast a lot in the month of Sha'ban, as she said, كان رسول الله عليه وسلم يصوم أكثر شعبان بل كان يصوم كل شعبان كله, that he used to fast the majority of the month of Sha'ban, rather he would fast all of the month of Sha'ban. Now, so she would make up her days then. فدل هذا على أن الوقت قضاء موسع. So this proves that the time for making up the fast is broad, it is wide. إلى أن لا يبقى من شعبان إلا قدر الأيام التي عليه, unless there does not remain from Sha'ban that which those days that are due upon the person. In this case, it is obligatory upon him to fast them all before the entrance of the new Ramadan. In akhir al-qada hatta ata alayhi Ramadan al-jadid. So if a person delays, if he were to delay making up his days until the new Ramadan comes, فإنه يصوم رمضان الحاضر, then what he must do is fast the current Ramadan. He must fast the current Ramadan, وَيَقْضِي مَا عَلَيْهِ بَعْدَ, and he makes up that which is due upon him after it. ثم إن كان تأخيره لعذر لم يتمكن معه من القضاء في تلك الفترة فإنه ليس عليه إلا القضاء. And if his delay was due to a valid excuse that prevented him from being able to make those days up until the next Ramadan came, maybe the person was sick, maybe she was pregnant back to back and breastfeeding and the likes of this, so she missed one Ramadan and she's pregnant again by the time next Ramadan comes and like this, so she cannot have made the days up. So in this case, there's nothing due upon the person but making the days up, even if it's going to be after the next Ramadan. All right, they make the days up even if it's after the next Ramadan, if it's for a valid excuse. Now, when kana li ghayri udhr, and if a person does not have a valid excuse, if they don't have a valid excuse, wajib alayhim al-qada, then in addition to making the days up, they must feed a poor person for every day. Right? They'll feed a poor person for every day. If they didn't have a valid excuse, they feed a poor person for every day. Kul yawm nisf sa', for every day a half of a sa' from the food that is typically eaten in that particular land. إذا مات من عليه القضاء قبل دخول رمضان الجديد. If the one who has days to make up, if he has days to make up, dies before the entrance of the next Ramadan, now meaning that he broke the fast due to a valid reason, and he did not have the opportunity to make the days up until he ended up dying before the next Ramadan comes. فَلَا شَيْءَ عَلَيْهِ, there's nothing due upon him. Nothing due upon him, right? And the Shaykh is going to explain why. We'll get to the explanation later. He says that لِأَنَّ لَهُ تَأْخِيرِهِ لَتَأْخِيرُهُ فِي تِلْكَ الْفَتْرَةِ الَّتِي مَاتَ فِيهَا. And this is because it is permissible for the person to delay the making of the fast within that time frame that he died in. Right? He died before the next Ramadan came. Right? So it was not yet, he did not reach that blameworthy time wherein if he did not make the days up by that time, he would be blameworthy. So there's nothing due upon him. when mata ba'da Ramadan al-Jadid, and if he dies after the new Ramadan, فإن كان تأخيره القضاء لعذر, then if his delaying of the making up was due to a valid excuse like sickness or travel, حتى أدركه رمضان الجديد, to the point that he was sick all the way to the new Ramadan came, or he was traveling all the way until the new Ramadan came, and he ended up dying after that new Ramadan. In this case, there's nothing due upon him. In this case, there's nothing due upon him. If he delayed making up the days and he did not have a valid excuse, then a kafara must be made, an expiation must be paid from his wealth that he left behind, right? Whatever he left behind, his family, he gets his inheritance, and they consider this to be what we must pay before we take our inheritance. We spoke about this the other night in the conversation with some of the brothers. The difference between wasaya, right, a will, and an inheritance, right? The inheritance comes after your will, right? Your inheritance comes after your will. Your will, for example, is you owe such and such money. That money has to be paid from whatever you leave behind. You promise such and such they can have your library. You promise this person they can have your car. You want to bequeath this portion of your wealth to an orphanage or to do some type of sadaqah jariyah or whatever the case may be. That's your will. After all that's done, then what's left from that is your inheritance, right? That's your inheritance, and that's predetermined by what is mentioned in the Book of Allah and the Sunnah of our beloved Prophet alayhi salam. It's already known. The son gets such and such. The daughters get such and such. The mother gets such and such. The wife gets such and such. It's already predetermined, right? But this is after your will. It's after your will. So whatever you have left behind, right? If the person like this in this state, he did not make his days up from Ramadan, and he did not have a valid excuse until he ended up dying. So what ends up happening is that from whatever he leaves behind, we have to pay an expiation on his behalf. Says his relative has to pay the expiation on his behalf. Now, he says that بأن يخرج عنه إطعام مسكين عن كل يوم, that you feed a poor person for every day. A poor person is fed for every day. When mata man alayhi sawm kafara, if a person dies having due upon him a fast of an expiation, right? A fast of an expiation, right? Such as, for example, one was intimate during the daytime of Ramadan, and therefore he did not, he was not able to free a slave. So we go to the next step of fasting for 2 consecutive months. This is a kafara that's due upon him, right? And he dies before he completes it, like for example, or the kafara of dhihar, right? A person makes a statement of dhihar about his wife. That you are to me like the back of my mother. It's called dhihar, and so he has to fast as an expiation for that. Now, he says, وَالصَّوْمُ الْوَاجِبْ عَنْ دَمْ الْمُتْعَةِ فِي الْحَجِّ, or for example, a person during Hajj, he may kill an animal during Hajj, right? And has to fast as an expiation for that. These are types of expiation fasts. Now, then a poor person must be fed for every day. A poor person must be fed for every day of fasting that's due upon the person. وَلَا يُصَامْ عَنْهُ, and one does not fast on his behalf, right? In this type of case, this type of situation, one cannot say, okay, how many days did he have? I'm going to fast those days on his behalf when it's an expiation like this. We're going to get to the state and condition wherein we can fast on our relative's behalf, but this is not it, right? None of these cases are it. Now, he says that then and one is not to fast on their behalf. And the feeding of the poor people is to be done from the wealth that he leaves behind. Because these fasts, the obligatory fasts, are fasts that niyaba does not enter into it. Meaning someone can't fast it on somebody else's behalf. Just like I can't pray your salat for you, right? If you didn't pray and you died not praying, I can't come and say I'm going to make salat on his behalf for him, right? This is fard ayn. This is something specific upon that person. Allah made a buying and obligatory upon you. If you didn't do it, you just didn't do it. That's on you. But we do feed the poor people on his behalf. Now, he says that. Now, هذا هو قول أكثر أهل العلم. This is the statement of the majority of the people of knowledge. When mata man alayhi sawm nadar. But if a person dies having a fast of another, a vow that's due upon him, now then it is recommended in this case for his wali to fast on his behalf. Right? We say a vow, for example, if a person says that if my mother gets healed from her sickness today, then I'm going to fast tomorrow. Right? She gets healed from her sickness, but I die at nighttime. Right? I didn't get a chance to make the fast. Then this is a vow, right, that has to be fulfilled. And it was not obligatory. I made it obligatory upon myself. Right? So with this type of thing where it's not, Allah didn't make it obligatory, but the person made it obligatory upon themselves, then this is the fast that can be made on somebody else's behalf. Right? Now, and mind you, the scholars do differ about this. Some of the scholars, they say that if I know that my father has some days of Ramadan left, right, then I can fast those days on his behalf. Those who he left behind, we can break the days up amongst ourselves and so on and so forth. He had maybe 15 days. He has 3 children, so we're going to break the days up. I take 5, you take 5, you take 5, and like this. This is in the case wherein he could have made them up, but he just didn't because he was negligent. Now, in this case, we can take those days, according to some of the scholars, and we can split them up and fast them on his behalf. Now, but the majority of Al-Ilm, as Sheikh Salih is mentioning here, say that those types of fasts cannot be made up, right, on the person's behalf. We can feed somebody on his behalf, but we can't fast them for him, just as we can't pray for another individual. But as it relates to the nadar, the vow, this is what Sheikh Salih is saying, that the wali, and by wali he means al-warith, the one who has the right to inherit from him, right, can fast it on his behalf. Due to what has come in the 2 Sahihs, that a woman came to the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, فقالت, she said, "Inna ummi matat wa alayha siyam nadar." She said that my mother died while having due upon her the fast of a vow that she made. She vowed to fast. Afa asum anha. So therefore, should I fast on her behalf? The Prophet ﷺ said, "Na'am." He said, yes. He said, yes, fast on her behalf. And the wali is al-warith. It is the warith, or the inheritor, the one who has the right to inherit. Ibn Qayyim, he mentions, yusam anhu an-nadar, dun al-fard al-asli. He says that, it's a kalam of Ibn Qayyim al-Jawziyah, alayhi rahmatullah. He says that one can fast on behalf of someone the fast of a vow, right? The fast of a vow. But not the fast that is obligatory aslan, not the obligatory asli fast. وهذا مذهب أحمد وغيره, and this is the method of Imam Ahmed and others. والمنسوس عن ابن عباس وعائشة. It's likewise been textualized from Ibn Abbas and Aisha, that they both spoke with this. وهو مقتضى الدليل, it is that which corresponds with the evidence, and likewise analytical deduction or qiyas. لأن النظر ليس واجبا بأصل الشرع, and this is because the nazar, the vow, is not something which the basis of the legislation is made obligatory. نعم وإنما أوجبه العبد على نفسه, rather the person made it obligatory upon himself. نعم فصار بمنزلة الدين, so therefore it takes the same status as a debt that is owed. It takes the same status as a debt that is owed. ولهذا شبهه النبي عليه السلام بالدين. So due to this, the Prophet عليه السلام, he likened it to a debt that is owed. أما الصوم الذي فرضه الله عليه ابتداء, as for the fast that Allah made obligatory, فهو أحد أركان الإسلام, it is one of the pillars of Islam. فلا تدخله النيابة بهذا, so therefore someone cannot fulfill it on the behalf of someone else. كما لا تدخل الصلاة وشهادتين, just as I can't make your prayer for you, nor can I take your shahada for you. Like me saying the shahada on your behalf is not going to benefit you, right? This is one of the pillars of Islam. Just as me praying on your behalf is not going to benefit you. Now, فإن المقصود منهما الطاعة العبد بنفسه, because what is intended by them, that the servant is obedient to Allah, his or herself. وقيامه بحق العبودية, and the servant, him or herself, established the right of servitude to Allah Azza wa Jal, due to which or for which they have been created. Now, وهذا لا يؤديه عنه غيره, and these things no one can perform on behalf of someone else, well, just as one cannot pray on behalf of someone else. Inta kalamahu rahimahullah. He likewise concludes with the speech of Ibn Taymiyyah alayhi rahmatullah. Yud'am anhu kul yawm miskin. He says that, and so in relation to this, a poor person is to be fed for every day, meaning in terms of the other fasts that are obligatory aslan. وبذلك أخذ أحمد. This is the statement of Ahmed. Was Ishaq ibn Rahoya and other than them. وهو مقتضى النظر, it is that which is necessitated by way of another or sound research, just as it is that which the narrations conclude. فإن النظر, for vows, كان ثابتا في الذمة, this is something which it remains binding upon a person even after his or her death, right? If you take a vow, then a vow is binding upon you even after you pass away. Now, so therefore, this is something that is to be fulfilled on your behalf. أما صوم رمضان فإن الله لم يجبه العاجز عنه. As for the fast of Ramadan, then Allah has not made it binding or obligatory upon the one who can't do it, right? If you can't do it, it's not obligatory upon you anyway. Now, بل أمر العاجز بالفدية وطعام مسكين. As for the one who can't do it, who can't fast, then what must they do? They must pay a fidya or feed a poor person. They pay the fidya or feed the poor person. So this is why the Shaykh is saying this is what we can do for the fast of Ramadan, for example. If the individual who had days to make up and he could have made them up and the likes of this, now then we feed on their behalf and we don't fast on their behalf according to the majority of the ulama. Bearing in mind that some other scholars say differently, that we can fast on their behalf. This is the reasoning why Sheikh Saleh takes this position, and it is a position of the jumhur, of the majority. نعم بالقضاء إنما على من قدر عليه ولا على من عجز عنه. As for making it up, then this is only for those who have the ability to make it up, not upon those who don't have the ability. فلا يحتاج إلى أن يقضي أحد عن أحد. So therefore, in this case, one is not in need of someone making it up on his behalf, meaning the one who can make it up himself. أما الصوم النذر, as for the fast of the vow, and other than it, فيفعل عنه بلا خلاف. This is something that one can do on behalf of someone else, with there being no difference of opinion regarding it. And this is based upon the authentic narrations. Now, Allah knows best. We stop there. هذا وصلى الله وسلم وبارك على نبينا محمد وعلى آله وصحبه أجمعين. We have one more bab in Kitab al-Siyam, so what we'll probably do is maybe take it this weekend, this Saturday, after the Adab al-Mufrad class, inshallah. We'll finish Kitab al-Siyam since Ramadan is starting next week, inshallah.